In just over 24 hours, President Trump will have every single news network, every single cable outlet, pretty much everyone around the world tuned to his face, his message in his very first State of the Union address. We know he's going to hit a few domestic issues, reforming immigration, building up infrastructure. Now, tonight, part 2 of my interview with White House Deputy Press Secretary Hogan Gidley. I wanted some behind-the-scenes prep information about how he's getting in the zone, plus his plans for things like North Korea. But first up tonight, President Trump, will he allow Robert Mueller to finish his investigation no matter where it leads, including obstruction of justice? We know the president's looking to, in many ways, reassure people. We suspect that he's going to have a more optimistic tone. You know, he's going to say, look at what I've said before, look at what I've accomplished. I wonder in the reassurance aspect, because right now a lot of people in the country, they see all these headlines coming out on any given day about any given topic. On something like DOJ's Mueller probe, will he reassure everyone that he will let this be seen through to the very end no matter what?
Absolutely, and he's been very clear on this, and he said it multiple times.
Even obstruction, he'll let it?
Absolutely, he's been very clear on this, that there's no collusion, he's done nothing wrong. We have remained and maintained full cooperation with the Mueller investigation, and that's where we are. I mean, he wants to be exonerated. And look, anybody out there in this country, as you know, who is falsely accused, wants to go to the rooftops and say, I didn't do anything wrong. But there's a process here, and the president respects that process. And so, we're ready for it to wrap up, but absolutely full cooperation from the White House.
Every American's watching this and listening to every word of the president on Tuesday night, but I wonder, what's the message to the rest of the world? So many people have said they don't like this America First thing. They worry about America turning inward, but we've seen the president go to Davos.
Sure.
We've seen him say we're open for business. What will we be saying to the rest of the world and on things like North Korea?
A couple of things. One is we're absolutely for the denuclearization of North Korea. A nuclear North Korea is dangerous, not just for America, but for the rest of the world. And most of America understands that, but the international community does as well. There have been several sanctions from countries that you wouldn't expect to sanction North Korea, have all signed on with our sanction. We're doing a maximum pressure on North Korea. But, and what was the other you asked about? How the world would view
the message to the rest of the world.
Absolutely. He touched on it a little bit in Davos, which is he wants to partner with other countries for things, but for so long politicians always use the term, we want free and fair trade.
Yeah.
The free trade always comes. It's that fair part that always is a little tricky, because America continues to lose out on fair trade because we don't actively push back when other countries aren't honest actors.
Everyone has a different definition.
Exactly. So he comes up and says, we're going to keep things free, but we're going to make sure they're fair, and we're not going to enter into deals with other countries that hurt Americans. And he also said, it was a very interesting point and a good part of the conversation in the speech in Davos, which was, I'm for America first, just like everybody out there from other countries are for your country first. That makes sense. The question then becomes, how do we deal with each other so that the entire world benefits? A good American economy is good for the world and vice versa.
Final question, because I know you're in a hurry today, busy guy. I wonder inside, when the president went to his staff and said, all right, here's what I want to be doing, what did he task them with message-wise? And I also wonder, how does he psych himself up? When you go on a stage like this, knowing that every single person is watching, every economist, every voter is watching, how does he get in the zone, let's say, and psych himself up for the big day?
Well, it's not hard for him to do, because he never really is out of the zone. I mean, you saw in the campaign trail, he would go out for hours in the hot sun, and his staff people are wilting, and he's there in a suit, just keeping going. All right, just keeping going. He never stops, because he honestly really does feel as though he's giving a voice to the voiceless. Mm-hmm. The common man, the every American, has been left out and has been basically not represented by people in this town. It's so funny, because only a promise made and a promise kept would be a novelty in this town. But he's come here in the first year and kept so many of his promises about deregulation and about moving the capital of Israel to Jerusalem. Also, the tax cuts. People said that would never happen. He did it. Record-setting accomplishments in record-setting time, and so I think that it's just a really exciting time.
But does he practice? Does he get a shake?
But also a lot of it plays off the crowd. I mean, if you go into a crowd and they're flat, but he rarely goes into a room that's flat. I mean, he feeds off that crowd, and so many people are excited that someone's speaking for him, for them, and he knows that. So it's one of those deals where he's not just a master showman, but he gets the downtrodden so much. He wants to fight for them. So for him, it's almost like a guttural reaction that I've got to get up because I've got to get to work for these folks who've been kicked in the teeth, left in the dust, and forgotten about for far too long.
Big night coming up, months of work on it. Thank you, Hogan.
Thank you so much.
You can judge for yourself tomorrow night. Newsy is going to carry the State of the Union live at 9 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Also carrying the Democratic response. Special coverage kicks off at 7 p.m. right here on the Y. You can hear there from what Hogan was saying that they want to keep this very optimistic if possible, but we know that there are going to be some family members of some women who were killed by MS-13 members. So he's also going to be talking about immigration tomorrow night. We'll see how that goes over in the chamber. You heard I wanted to know, is he eating McDonald's and drinking shakes to prep himself? But he didn't get into that.